be a threat here. He's on wets. Look at this. Look how slippery it is. Oh, Greg. And whack.
And that's how Lee Holdsworth spun.
And Greg subsequently came to the pits. Oh. Hello. It's a party.
Tim.
There's heaps of people joining that spot.
And as Greg Murphy brought his wounded car back into pit lane,
look how wet it is.
It was puffing smoke and putting oil on the track as well. So the championship points score now reads 32 points is the difference between Courtney and Whincup. Winterbottom 194 points back.
But the worst thing that can happen now, Matt, is when you go slow on your slick tyre, you've got no temperature. So in a normal racing circumstance, we saw half the track dry, you keep the temperature up and the grip's okay. But behind the safety car, they've got no grip.
And of course, then when you go fast, you've got no grip.
Well, they cool out, and as a result of that, they lose surface temperature. They also lose pressure. He's saying he wants wets if it's going to keep raining.
There's the $64 million question.
And now they've got a serious nail biter in their hands because they do not want to give away track position.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
So Mark Dutton's been forced to play weather forecaster.
You know what
the best he could do was not sure. Restart. Off we go.
You know what I'd do? If I were them, I'd do it because Courtney will mirror them, and then it'll be a wet weather race between both of them because I don't reckon James would tough it out. It's too wet.
So our three championship contenders, Whincup, Winterbottom and Courtney, make up the top three of this race. It is belting down. They're not on wet tyres.
The question that I would ask in either of the bunkers at Vodafone, Change for the Lead or Jim Beam is, can we afford a crash? And the answer to that is no.
Yeah.
So look at this. If they end up in the wall, it's game over. It's going to be game over for one of these contenders if they're not careful. They've got to get on wet tyres now.
Look at this. That is so slippery, you will not believe it.
If you're down the autoscape here, you'd play the risk game, but I wouldn't play the risk game.
Oh,
James Courtney's about to play.
Oh no! He's in the fence! They're both in the fence!
They're all in the fence!
Oh!
Unbelievable! Top three in the fence. Van Gisbergen goes as well. Suddenly, Whincup has managed to keep going. Courtney's desperately trying to go with him, and then bash!
That's stupid. I said it 15 seconds ago. They pushed that you cannot afford to have a crash in these conditions. They should have been on wets.
He's got nothing on the right front. It's
broken.
going nowhere.
They're all broken. Forget about it.
This is just incredible.
This could end up being a red flag, which means that if it's red flags, it could backdate. I need to see where we're at in percentage terms. But it's got broken front suspension.
Guys, this is when you've got to go with the driver. You've got to go with the driver's feel. When he said on the safety car at the restart, it's time for wets.
We have passed the critical 75%. It can be declared a race. We've got massively wounded cars, and if it is declared, it'll backdate
to the lap prior.
Yeah, and don't ask me what it looked like at that point because it's too much data to process.
He's going to battle to get it into pit lane. He can't steer it. No, he's got it there now.
Oh, I totally echo your remarks. The driver, he was saying, I need wets. They're playing way too much of a theoretical laptop game and not enough racetrack game. Look at that.
That's what. So that's what happened to Craig Lowndes' car as he went slamming into the rear of James Courtney's car. Okay.
Oh, it's got a broken disc. It's got a broken rotor. He's going to be there forever.
Yeah, you can see there, because not only smashed this, but the upright is broken clean in half. That's going nowhere.
So that's one championship contender gone for the day.
Now, what's it look like at the other end of town? Because it doesn't look much prettier on this. It's gone too. He's going nowhere. Adrian Burgess, sporting director. This thing is broken. These two guys are going to get big fat zero.
James Courtney, to make matters worse, he's turned into the wrong garage. They're going to have to push him around and get him in the right garage. This is a mess. It is belting down in pit lane at the moment. It couldn't get any worse.
Guys, where is Winterbottom? Because if these blokes score zeros, Winterbottom you're going to have to focus on here because he could grab points. He's down in 13th. What's the state of his car?
Have a look at the damage on Lowndes' car after running into the back of James Courtney at turn 5.
Well, if they thought Jamie Whincup's car was bad, wait until they see what's happened to Lowndes'. Alex Davison stuck. Todd Kelly was stuck there.
It's like a wrecking yard.
Mark Winterbottom is the big question. Where is he? What damage has he got? He was the first one to go. The Watts linkage has gone on that as well. The rear is wobbling all over the shop.
There's not much that isn't gone on it. So Winterbottom, here he is. Okay, so he's got a big fat zero too. So all three contenders are going to end up with nothing out of this.
This is a joke.
Kidding.
Yes, I needed to see him to understand what could, because this could have been the Formula One scenario where the bloke in third in the championship leaps up and scares everybody at the top end of town. That's not going to happen.
Well, when they pull this off, you watch.
Now,
if they get it off,
I'm going to be interested in whether this gets declared, and if it does, when the declaration happens, if it happens, it could have impact on the result and the championship because of who was leading second, third and so on at the time. But the longer it trickles on...
Well, I'm pretty sure that Jamie Whincup was leading the race. When we go back...
It may not get declared. Depends on how many cars are scattered
So this is what happens. So Whincup follows these guys in. Winterbottom's the first to go. Courtney goes in. Whincup's gone in.
There they are, championship contenders.
Then they punch again. Van Gisbergen gets into the mix. Now you keep an eye on Craig Lowndes, who gets speared over to the left-hand side. There's still cars hitting the fence left, right and centre. And then there's Michael Caruso. Todd Kelly will arrive on the picture sooner or later because he couldn't go anywhere. And then watch this. Oh, that's from Jamie Whincup. There's Courtney. This is a championship moment evaporating in the middle of a rainstorm.
But it's the status quo. So it's a reset for tomorrow. So forget about the championship contenders. They've actually all neutralised each other. Each of the teams and their strategists have neutralised each other.
Check this out. Watch James Courtney's car and Craig Lowndes. Crunch.
That sound you can hear is the sound of cash registers ringing. Because that's an expensive act, all that. So I'd forgotten about Winterbottom because I was that focused on these two guys that it was hard to read what was going on. But
the first bloke to crash was Winterbottom.
Yes.
He was the guy that went into the fence first.
Driving point of view, I mean, we've
And I reckon if we could have a chat to Mark Winterbottom, he would say exactly the same thing. Those three guys were in exactly the same position at the same time and the same outcome. Aquaplaning into the fence, major damage, almost replica damage across the three cars. The interesting thing there, and you guys were talking about this, was remember on that restart lap, when Jamie Whincup asked Mark Dutton the question, he didn't say, I want to come in. He asked him the question, is it going to keep raining? Well, it's a pretty open-ended question.
Well, but he made a clear statement, we need to be on wets. and we were saying it up here, but the problem that they were all waiting for one of the others to blink. Everybody was waiting and looking at the other guy because they didn't want to give away track position. Meantime, the guys couldn't steer the cars. You know, eventually on a slick tyre, a cold slick tyre, like
Look at
these
this.
conditions, there's
Look
nothing
at
in
this.
them.
That's
It's just
novel stuff.
smash up Derby.
May as well come down that way.
He's going to end up in another
It's going to
car.
run into the other car.
Gee,
May as well not.
what's all that
end up-
about?
It's not as though he could do any more damage.
Well, he'd already wiped the right-hand rear mirror off, so he couldn't see where that one was, Croppo. That was a car park mistake.
Those mirrors are useless. So they're trying to check out what damage is unfolding in car 5. Mark Winterbottom, it's Matty White here. If you've got me and you know anything that we don't, what can you inform us about the damage to your car? It was a bizarre situation, Mark, to see the top 3 championship contenders all go into the wall at exactly the same spot, aquaplaning. So you've all got a similar story of woe. Pretty heavy impact. We're just looking at the replay right now. Not only when you hit the wall, you must have known what was coming behind you too. Well, good on you, Mark. Let's see if you can get back out there.
Thanks, Frosty.
It's pretty safe in the commentary box, Frosty. So, look, the focus here is really on the work being done to all 3 cars and whether they can get them out and get them classified and steal a couple of points. Meantime, Jonathan Webb is the race leader from Jason Bright and Stephen Johnson. And the motor race continues. So all that stuff I was on about before with declaration, they're under the control of the safety car and it's just rolling on. So even if they did declare it now, it would be declared around these new scenarios, not the one that we were talking about
that's
earlier.
right.
Jonathan
Steve
Webb
Johnson
would be the winner.
But Steve Johnson is on wets.
Yeah.
Just need to confirm who else is on wets as well.
Now the interesting thing is that as they sit in there, and as Roland pointed out, that there's a battle on for who can fix a destroyed car fastest. You actually look at them on the timing and the computer at the moment, even though they're in the pit lane, they're both showing Whincup position 14, Courtney position 15. So as it's been in recent months, they still remain locked together.
Yeah.
And they want to get them back out there so they can get them classified and try and grab some points, any points. And a lot of damage on. They've all got similar levels of damage. It's all in the same area.
Well, they all hit the same fence at the same speed.
So just to reiterate, it's the mother car of Jonathan Webb, having a great rookie season in the main game, who's leading the field. And then Jason Bright, who's had great pace all weekend, except for that little flaw in qualifying where he plucked an oil line off. And then Stephen Johnson. And what we're trying to determine now is who is on a wet tyre versus who's on a dry tyre.
There's an incredible battle of mechanical skill going on here between FPR and Jim Beam Racing at the moment. The Jim Beam guys are throwing everyone at Courtney's car at the moment. There's not a spare pair of hands in the garage. They are under the car, they're on top of the car, and meantime James Courtney has his leg just poking out, just doing all he can at the moment, and that's relaxing and getting ready to go again. But they are working feverishly to try and get this car back out. And you take a peek across to FPR, it's a similar scene there. They've still got Mark Winterbottom's car in pit lane at the moment, and they are working feverishly as well. But this is full pressure on. Adrian Burgess, who's the team principal, is hands on deck as well. They're just bashing the bonnet at the moment, just trying to get this thing back into shape so they can shut it up and get back on the racetrack. And even Adrian, the team boss, is there holding onto the bonnet as they pound it. It is all happening down here at Jim Beam Racing, guys.
Extraordinary pictures.
Well, it's such a team game. You've just had mistakes made on the track, and now it's a team race to get the cars back to going again. They've all got to put right-hand front corners in these cars to team race to get them back out and to get some points, to salvage a couple of points.
Another victim departs the scene, Will Davison.
Yeah, and as all the debris is cleaned up, eventually the race director will release the race once again, and we'll go racing with Jonathan Webb leading the field.
Could Jonathan Webb claim his first ever race victory? What about Stevie Johnson? There's a chance that he's on wet tyres. He will come charging. Well, Jonathan Webb has the job of guiding this field home, because the Pettis safety car has now pulled away, and the former Fujitsu champion in his first ever season in the main game full time now has the race lead. Can you believe it? Our three championship contenders are all in pit lane, all battered and bruised. Jason Bargwanna is going fighting down to turn one. This has fallen in the lap of these guys, courtesy of a major incident involving our championship contenders Whincup, Courtney and Winterbottom.
And don't discount the possibility that there could be another safety car intervention in what's obviously really tough conditions. And I'm not 100% sure of who's on what tyre at the moment either. In looking at these cars, they must be on wets.
There's a couple that don't look like they are.
These blokes do.
Yeah.
Well, either way,
this is the spot.
Either way,
So
gents,
careful.
they're not going to make the 74-lap race distance. There's probably about 4 laps to go. Jason Bright there in third. There's Stephen Johnson. Paul Dumbrell. I mean, just 5 or 10 minutes ago, these guys were battling mid-pack. Now they're going for a race win.
Jason Bargwanna has always been big slide coming out of turn 8 for Jason Bargwanna. He's always been good in the wet.
Yes.
Yeah, but
on our computer, he's showing 1 lap down at the moment in position 9, Jason Bargwanna. So he's potentially trying to unlap himself.
yeah, that's right.
That's why he's going so hard, so fast, so early in this restart. So the guys on the lead lap, Webb, Wright, Johnson, Rick Kelly, Coulthard, Lee Holdsworth, who started from pole, and Andrew Thompson.
But Webb's actually got a substantial lead over Bright.
Yeah.
He's second. He's got 3 seconds on him at the moment. That's the motor race. Meantime, back at the Jim Beam garage. And Scapey, earlier we were talking it looked like these fellows at Ford Performance Racing didn't have their car in the garage, which limits the number of people that can work on it. But at DJR, as in Jim Beam Racing and at Team Vodafone, they did have them in the garage.
That's right. So there's a regulation of how many guys can work on the car in the lane. FPR have chosen to leave the car in the pit lane, while the other two teams could basically have as many guys as they like. As Mark Winterbottom reported with Jim Beam Racing, they had everyone in the place working on James Courtney's car. So different strategies again in pit lane.
And if one of those cars get out in the course of the next couple of laps, if Whincup, Winterbottom or Courtney get out, they'll finish 15th, they'll get 60 points.
Yeah, that's right. So it's absolutely worth the fight. I mean, you wouldn't worry about how ugly it is.
Just get it out there.
Just get it out. It doesn't matter about the geometry. So long as all four wheels are on it and it basically resembles a motor car, you'd send it.
But the problem is, when you put a right-hand front corner in them, you've got to make sure they stop. You've got to make sure they've got at least got brakes. You saw all the brake damage on the three cars at the front. So you've certainly, when you go back out on the road, you've got to be safe about it.
I think there's also a time requirement you've got to achieve. You can't, there's a rule somewhere that will take me too long to find, but you can't, look at the front of that thing.
It's just about ready to push out.
Well, they're getting closer and closer, aren't they?
You can't do a lap time, Scafey, that is effectively a turtle time. You've actually got to go out and do something that's we might get onto that and see if we can get the answer for you.
Body language tells us that Winterbottom will not be going anywhere. If anything, the race to get back out there is being won by Dick Johnson Racing at the moment. But they're running out of time because this race will finish in a matter of laps.
As is Jamie Whincup, Matty. There's 5 guys under the car, including Mark Dutton with blood all over his fingers. These guys are giving it their all. The upright's just gone on there about 2 bolts away, mate.
Brad Jones has just sent me a text. The reason why Bright's struggling is they've decided to start that car with way too lower tyre pressures. They're just not coming up. So it's the reason why Webb's all over him at the moment, leading. Here we are, in and out of both the key garages.
There's a cut-off time for this race, and it ends in 2 minutes.
Guys, update from Jim Beam. They're just about to get the right front tyre on James Courtney's car. The last thing they've got to check is when they drop it down that there's enough clearance between the track and the fuel tank at the back. That's the big issue at the moment.
Wouldn't be worrying about anything like that, Brett. You'd just be getting 4 wheels on the thing and pushing it down pit lane, getting it out there. What about this? 26 years of age, Jonathan Webb. He won the Fujitsu series. He comes in here into the main game.
Now,
they can't get it started.
No, it's running, but they're just having another look at it to make sure it's running okay. And V8 Supercar officials are there just watching. So your point, Matt, Jonathan Webb staring down the gun barrel here of the potential first ever championship win. Courtney back out. He's going to get out on this racetrack. The thing is a mess at the front. He's just got to be able to get around.
And Adrian Burgess just said, be careful, James, be careful.
So this has got... It's got nothing to do... And that's what he's saying. It's got nothing to do with winning the race, but they've won the most important race. The race to get Courtney back on the track, and Courtney's won that race against Winterbottom and Whincup.
But I hasten to add that Courtney's got to be super careful because he can end up back in the wall again with stone cold tyres and geometry all over the place.
Well, he'll just be going trundling around. And Jonathan Webb, well, he's got a different scenario altogether. Remember, we go back to Sandown when Paul Dumbrell won his first race after 242 cracks at it. Well, Jonathan Webb is in just his 33rd main game race. And if he can hold it together and keep it straight, he's going to find himself on the race winners list.
Now, in James Courtney's broken car case, if his lap time is more than twice the fastest lap of the winner's fastest lap time, then he's not classified. Did I say that right? So if Courtney's time is more than twice as slow, I should say, as this bloke's fastest lap, which will be based on his dry time, then he's not classified.
Bottom line is, James just can't go out and trundle around at 4 k's an hour. He's got to push along. But let's focus on Jonathan Webb.
So that means that James has got to do a 3-minute lap. Look at the front of it. It's got negative camber on one side, positive on the other. It's covered in race tape. It's destroyed. Bright is coming, but will it be fast enough? Bright, he's closing now that he's got some temperature up.
Webb started in 21st. Remember, this car is out of the Dick Johnson Racing stable.
He had a moment.
So they've had it all thrown at them, DJR, this weekend, but Bright is certainly coming. Youth versus experience in the rain, on the streets, as a championship battle has unfolded around them in the most extraordinary fashion. Jonathan Webb has less than 3 kilometres now to deliver a race win.
He's on.
He'll take.
Thinking of Jason Brights has got some pace now that it's gripped up, and he's on it, a big attack. There's 3/4 of a lap remaining, and I'll tell you what, he might get here. The last 3 or 4 corners are going to be game on here. Meantime, at the other end of the racetrack, Courtney's trying to get a lap time out of that broken car in order to be classified and get a vital pile of points, which for 15th is 60 points.
And there goes Whincup, just exiting the pit lane. No wheel alignment, wheel on, gone. Horrible.
So they've just got him out there. So Courtney and Whincup have gone out there.
And 16th, if Whincup is classified, is worth 57 points.
Look at this. Look at Bright. He's coming at him.
Jason Bright has won 15 races in his career. The last was 4 years ago. Jonathan Webb's career is really only just starting. He's never won a V8 supercar race. It's been a battle of attrition. They've had to fight off the rain. Webb's car was crunched in qualifying. And here he is, this 26-year-old with a cool head. The emotion will be bubbling over as he brings it around the final couple of turns. The rain is falling down at the Sydney Telstra 500, and that is a victory that's fallen from the heavens for Jonathan Webb.
Fantastic job.
Good on him. Good on him.
Great drive. Well done.
And that makes Webb the 60th driver to win a race in the history of Australian Touring Car Championship and V8 supercar racing.
And now here's Courtney. He's done 2/3 of this lap. To the second intermediate, he's recorded a 1 minute 28.3. It will be under 3 minutes. Look at this.
Look who's there. His partner in crime.
Walking wounded. These two.
That wheel is almost off that car.
They're just locked together, aren't they?
He'll be lucky to complete this lap. Look at the front right wheel. It's barely holding on. Oh, this is just amazing. You're going to have to burn up the calculators to find out what's happening in the championship. But I'll tell you what's happening. It's going to Sunday.
Courtney did a 2:03. But Whincup hasn't recorded a lap. I'm not sure that Whincup will get classified. We'll check that for you. He hasn't done a lap. He hasn't done a flying lap. So even though Matty is showing 16th, I'm not sure that he'll be classified. But Courtney has done a lap. It's a 2 minute and 3. And congratulations to these two guys, to Jonathan Webb and to Jason Bright, because they are left standing where others couldn't get the job done. James Courtney, Neil Crompton. Unbelievable day, mate. You've been classified as 15th, which is worth 60 points to you. Your thoughts? Obviously, James, it was incredibly treacherous there. You know, were you flinching and considering getting onto wets early, or do you think you still made the right call, you guys? Well done, mate. At least you've been classified according to our numbers, and we'll look forward to tomorrow.
So I've been crunching some numbers.
Yes.
If James Courtney, he finishes with 60 points out of today, and if Jamie Whincup is not classified, James will have a 113-point lead going into the final race. Jamie Whincup, you got me? Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. How are you travelling?
56 points or so between them. Courtney still holding sway over Jamie Whincup. A wet weather race.
Yeah, Jamie, we were saying the same thing, Neil and I. It's one of those ones where you've got to go with your intuition sometimes, don't you? And I heard you say on the radio to Mark Dutton, we really should be in. So it's one of those ones, I mean, all three of you had no grip there at turn 5. It was an incredible incident, wasn't it? Mate, well done. Great drive. It was a really good drive in the dry. It was fantastic.
Well, it's game on for tomorrow. We need to check with the officials to see who was classified and who wasn't. But Jonathan Webb, at the end of all of this, has scored a victory in car 19 in the Falcon out of Dick Johnson Racing. Bright and Rick Kelly make up the podium. And midfield is where we find all the action. So it's that simple, folks. We just need to find out if Jamie Whincup has been classified. If he has, he's a lot closer to James Courtney than he thinks. But this is the man of the moment, young Jonathan Webb. He's made his mark here in the rain at the Sydney Telstra 500.
That's all right, mate.
You'll get the trophy.
Hello? Oh, yeah. Ready, I'll follow my other.
Charlie.
Awesome. Tough run for you, thanks. Didn't expect that one, mate. Thanks, mate. Didn't expect that one, but we'll take it. Danny? That's all right. Thanks, dude. Awesome. Thanks, boys. Dunlop? That was all right.
Hey boys,
Didn't expect that one.
Give us a picture, guys. Get in there. Come on, guys. Here we go. That's it.
I think we were there with about 20 to go. Well done, dude. Sorry about that. I've kind of been working a bit.
Well done,
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't that much of a surprise. I was comfortable.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. If you're interested in more content like this, check out our back catalog of videos. We have hours and hours and hours of compilation videos, podcasts where you'll get news, you'll get my opinion on certain things, which who doesn't want to hear that. Check it out. If you would, like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads. We will be making more videos like this one. So, if you're interested, turn on notifications, like, subscribe, the works. And I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Love you. Peace.